In the deep silence of the cosmos, aboard a drifting derelict vessel orbiting a desolate moon, a confrontation of epic proportions was about to unfold. On one side were the Space Marines, genetically modified supersoldiers of unmatched discipline and war-hardened skill, encased in power armor and wielding devastating weaponry. On the other side was the Predator, an apex extraterrestrial hunter whose race thrived on stalking the most dangerous prey across galaxies. In this clash, brute strength would not be enough. Intelligence, patience, and adaptation would determine the victor in this silent, tactical war. The USS Harbinger, a reconnaissance and recovery ship of the Imperium, had been sent to investigate strange readings from the surface of the moon designated X-47, a barren place long thought uninhabited. Upon arrival, the crew found evidence of an ancient structure buried beneath the lunar soil. A squad of Space Marines was dispatched for close inspection. These were no ordinary soldiers. They were part of the Ultramarines chapter, bred for battle, trained to expect death and to conquer it. Among them was Sergeant Varek, a veteran of 100 campaigns, known for his battlefield intuition and ice-cold focus under fire. As they descended into the ancient catacombs, carved with runes no one could decipher, their comms crackled with static. A feeling of dread settled in, one not easily dismissed by warriors of their caliber. One by one, systems began to fail. Biosensors, auspex scanners, even helmet visors began flickering. Something was in the dark, something watching. Varek signaled for formation change. The Marines, always prepared for ambush, activated full-spectrum scanners, but the Predator remained unseen. High above, perched on the skeletal remains of a forgotten machine, the Predator observed. It had stalked many prey, xenomorphs, humans, giant beasts of Titan worlds, but never had it faced the might of the Adeptus Astartes. To the Predator, this was not war. It was a rite, a hunt worthy of the ancestral shrines. The Marines were strong, yes, but that made the hunt all the more sacred. The Predator initiated its approach in silence, using thermal vision to lock onto its targets. The cloaking technology rendered it near invisible to the Marines' optics. Still, Varek sensed something, an anomaly in the airflow, a flicker against the rock wall. He raised a clenched fist. The squad froze, listening. Without warning, a plasma caster fired, its bolt searing through the shoulder plate of Brother Elias. Though the armor absorbed most of the damage, the kinetic shock forced him to one knee. The squad responded instantly, bolters roaring as they peppered the cavern with high-velocity shells. But their enemy was already gone, moving through the shadows like a phantom. The Predator relished the response. These warriors didn't panic. They calculated. That was rare. It changed tactics, avoiding prolonged exposure, disabling one Marine at a time. In a game of attrition, it held the upper hand, until it underestimated the resolve of its quarry. Varek was no stranger to unseen foes. He initiated a flanking maneuver, sending brothers Kale and Thassius along a narrow corridor, while he and the remaining squad provided suppressive fire. The plan was to funnel the Predator toward a sealed chamber with a single exit. A kill zone. The Predator's intelligence told it to retreat and relocate, but curiosity bested caution. It wanted to see what these humans would try. A mistake. As it crossed into the chamber, the doorway behind it sealed with a thunderous clang. Varek's voice echoed through the room, calm and clear. "You are caged, beast." The Predator activated every weapon at its disposal, net launcher, wrist blades, and plasma caster, but the chamber was reinforced, ancient and unyielding. Still, it was not cornered. Not yet. From its gauntlet, it launched a detonation pulse at the ceiling, creating an opening and leaping upward. But Kale and Thassius were waiting. Explosives set along the upper crevice detonated. The Predator, caught mid-leap, was blasted back into the chamber. Damaged but not dead. Its mask cracked, one mandible torn. Now visible, its guttural roar echoed through the stone halls. It charged. This was no longer a hunt. It was combat. Varek faced it head-on. Bolt pistol in one hand, Chainsword in the other, he met the Predator's onslaught. The duel was savage. The Predator's speed and strength were nearly a match for the Space Marine, but not quite. Varek's strikes were calculated, brutal, informed by years of combat against faster foes. He took a blow to the chest plate, his armor hissing as life support systems compensated, but his chain's word found purchase in the Predator's side. Still, it did not fall. It activated its self-destruct countdown. The Marines knew what that meant. A last-ditch honor code among the Predators, denying their enemy the final kill. Varek grabbed the dying creature, dragging it deeper into the catacombs. His squad shouted after him, but he ignored them, sealing the chamber door behind him. A muffled explosion followed. The ground shook. Hours passed. Rescue teams found Varek buried beneath rubble, his armor scorched, his face scarred. He lived. Barely. They recovered the Predator's remains, or what little was left. Its mask, half intact, was kept as a trophy aboard the Harbinger. The chapter's scribes wrote of the encounter in reverent detail, acknowledging the worthiness of the enemy. In the aftermath, debates rippled across the Imperium. Some saw the Predator as another Xenos threat to be purged, others as a creature bound by honor, capable of understanding war on a level most alien species could not. The Inquisition took interest. Specimens were hunted across systems. Some were captured. Few survived the interrogation. Meanwhile, in the distant stars, another Predator received the final signals from its fallen kin. A record of the hunt, the strength of the prey, the sacrifice of death over defeat. Among its people, this meant only one thing. The prey had proven themselves worthy. Not merely as trophies, but as rivals. Another ship was launched. Another hunt prepared. The Space Marines did not rest. Varek, once healed, was assigned to a new task force, specialized in Xenos incursions. His experience became doctrine. His strategies, now part of training regimens across chapters. He bore the Predator's mask on his armor's shoulder, not as mockery, but as warning. His message was clear: we will not fall. Not to man, not to beast, not to shadow. The Predator's people would adapt as well. Their next encounter would not rely on stealth alone. They would train against targets that fired back, who hunted in return. For them, the Space Marines were no longer just prey, they were a challenge. And in challenge, there was honor. The conflict had ended, but the war had begun. Not of ideology or conquest, but of warriors testing their limits across worlds and centuries. The Predator, wounded and reborn, would learn the ways of humanity's deadliest protectors. And the Space Marines, ever vigilant, would prepare for more shadows in the void. It was no longer a question of who was stronger. It was a matter of who would evolve faster, who would outthink the other, who could better anticipate the next move in a galactic game of survival. Each side, bound by codes of war and honor, respected the other more than they dared admit. And in this respect, a terrible truth lingered: they were not so different.